What's up, guys? Welcome back to Airbnb ABCs. Everyone right now is feeling the pinch of a tighter economy pretty much all over. Interest rates are going up. Inflation is still rampant. Anytime you guys go out and fill up your car, you go get food, entertainment, anything like that, everything has pretty much gone through the roof. And you can see from the inflation numbers that have been put out over the last 2 years, we have done a lot of inflation. The R word is being thrown around quite a bit, and even if the government is able to cook the books enough to not say recession officially, even though at one point we did have 2 quarters of negative GDP growth. Perception is reality for folks. Perception is reality for guests and for hosts, and everyone for the most part is going to have less disposable income. I really don't care what your income level is. You're going to have less disposable income, and we've had nearly 20% inflation in the last couple of years. And so if folks have less disposable income, they have less money to spend on our Airbnbs or VRBOs or short-term rentals. And so what I want to go over with you guys today is how we have taken steps in the beginning of our Airbnb business and things we're doing lately to prepare ourselves to recession-proof our short-term rentals. So if you guys are into that, hit the like button for me to really help out this video in the YouTube algorithm. If this is your first time here, subscribe down below, and we are going to get into that right now. So since 2022, there has been a bit of a slowdown. If you guys don't recall, Airbnb bust was trending for the longest time. I even made a couple videos about how to avoid the Airbnb bust, and you can look at those in the videos that I have. But what I've seen really, that it's not necessarily a bust, but a return to sanity. 2021 and 2022 and probably the early parts or the later parts of 2020 were just absolutely intense. And if you're not on this side of it, or you're just getting started and you weren't in that time period, you weren't an Airbnb or VRBO host, you probably won't know what I'm talking about. And so you'll probably get wrapped up in this Airbnb bust thing. But it was absolutely insanity for getting bookings, for rates. Rates were going up by 10% a month. I mean, it was just absolutely out of control. Actually, the first cabin that we put on the different platforms, Airbnb and VRBO, we put it on, I think, in June of 2021. That's when we bought it. So our first couple of weeks might have been at the end of June and definitely all of July. In the first hour or so that we had the place online, there was, this is our first place, so we were very much like, oh, is this going to work? Are we going to get our money back? We had just purchased a $525,000 cabin, and so, there's some anxiety that goes along with that, especially on your first one. Just like any time that you do something for the first time, there's some nerves that things may not work out exactly like you thought they would. In the first couple hours, we had 4 bookings. I mean, I was losing my mind. I was like, hey, this is a thing to do. Like, we got something going on here. It was just so rapid, and even when things would go bad, like you'd get a canceled booking, the dates would immediately just rebook before you could even reprice or do any adjustments to them. I can recall a date canceled. I wanted to adjust the prices up a little bit. I was working on something. By the time that I was able to get in there and do that, they had already rebooked, and it was just absolutely ludicrous.
They've gone to plaid.
Now we are going to have to work a little bit harder to get booked. We are still, in my my experience, which is what I like to tell you guys, is basically the things from my experience, is that right now we are staying booked. Our rates are actually higher than they were in 2022. In 2021, we have more gross revenue coming in. And for the most part, our expenses haven't gone up too terribly much, because the biggest expense that we have is our mortgage, and that is on a fixed rate loan. What we're finding, or at least what I'm finding, is that bookings are closer in, and they're much less furious than before. It used to be that when you would have a 6 to 8 week window, which is how we like to stay booked, in that 6 to 8 week window. It was basically like boom, 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 boom. Everything filled up, the weekends first and the weeks filled in, and then the orphan days filled in between that. Now you'll have where you get a booking, and then you'll have another one come in a little bit later, and then you might be able to fill in some of those orphan days on either sides of those. And we're still staying booked. We are still beating our revenue from 2022, but it is just less furious and less intense than it was in 21, and especially the early parts of 22. So for those of us that already have properties and they're in service and they're renting, I am keeping an eagle eye on pricing. It is more competitive now than it was just 2 years ago, especially during the COVID pandemic when people wanted to travel like crazy and were willing to pay anything. Price sells these cabins every night. It's just like anything else. If there is 2 cabins or 2 of anything that are, comparable in almost every other way, the one that is priced the most aggressively is going to get the booking, is going to sell, or whatever that you want to call it. So what I am doing is I am checking my comparables a lot. I am checking weekdays in May. I'm checking weekdays in June and July. I'm checking weekends in all of these months. I'm checking on my holidays to see if I am in the ballpark and able to compete with the other properties that are on the market and that are comparable to mine. If I need to fill some calendar space, and May is kind of a rough month in the Smoky Mountains. It's between spring break and summer vacation, and so it is harder to get those dates filled. And you have to usually go lower prices, you have to go lower minimum stays, and you really have to get competitive. And so I may even go a bit below market if I need to fill that space. And the nice thing is, because of the way that we've purchased these, because of the low amount that we have to pay out every month for our monthly, obligations, we have that kind of flexibility that we can drastically reduce our rates from our summer, from our holiday, from our fall rates to something that will get people into our place, keep it rented, keep money coming in, and keep our cleaners in business, which is a factor for us because these folks are relying on us to keep our places booked for their livelihood as well. We're also adjusting our minimum stays as needed to keep things booked. And this goes along with just making it easier for folks to book your place. If you have a shorter minimum stay, more people are going to be able to book your place, either from the fact that a longer minimum stay costs more money. It just, does in the nightly rate, 3 nights versus 2 nights. The fees go up, the amount of taxes that they have to pay goes up. The cleaning rate usually stays the same. And so folks that just couldn't afford that wouldn't be able to book it. Also, people who have time constraints with jobs or kids or something like that, the shorter the booking window, the more likely that you're going to be able to capture that booking that you otherwise may miss out on. And it's better to get 2 2-night stays for 4 nights than only be able to get 1 out of a 3-night. And so if you guys have 2, 3, or even 4 bedroom places and you have 4, 5, 6, 7 night stays minimum, think about bringing those down. Our bare minimum is a 2-night stay, and I use that on weekdays within 2 weeks, and we have 3 nights on the weekends within 2 weeks. But if I need to get that booked within that 2-week thing, I'll take my weekends down to 2. A lot of May, I made May almost entirely a 2-night minimum stay in order to try to bump those bookings up. I'm doing the same with September. I do the same in January and February, and that is specific to slow times in the market that I'm in. We're keeping our fees and our impediments to book as low as possible. We don't tack on any extra junk fees. We don't tack on the VRBO damage protection insurance, the one that makes them pay $59 or $89 for an X amount of damage insurance. We just basically do the damage amount, the damage deposit amount, and if there is damage, then we would collect it through that. But I do not like adding on junk fees really anytime. I don't add on any type of management fees, nothing except for a cleaning fee and whatever VRBO and Airbnb charge the guests. We don't do any type of rental agreements or put up any type of barrier that is going to negatively affect folks getting the place booked and doing it easily. I'm going to make a video about how to keep your whole operation simple, to just streamline things, reduce the stress, and make it easier for guests to book your place, which is, in my opinion, what everyone should be doing. We want to get these guests in, so stop putting up all these barriers to keep guests from coming. But if you do have that right now, that can be a thing that you can use to get those bookings if and when the economy takes a more drastic downturn. Overall, just make it as easy as possible for folks to book your places. And when they do book your place, make sure it's perfect. We've been going through our places, making sure everything is perfect, make sure everything works, everything is well maintained, and is just easy to use. Because the good experiences with the good cabins will get you good reviews. That's going to push you up higher in the algorithm. It's going to get you into that positive feedback loop that is going to keep these different algorithms pushing you up and being the first place that people see. So then again, first one that people see, reasonable price, looks great, has good reviews. You're going to get that booking, you're going to get that 5-star review, and that's that positive feedback loop that's just going to keep those things going for you. In the event that we have a downturn or even in good times, it's going to make the good times even better. So guys, click on the videos that are on the screen right now. They're going to tell you all about the types of cabins that we purchased in the Smoky Mountains market. There are cabin tour playlists that you can just see the things that we are buying. It'll tell you all about how we manage these things from afar and all the trials and tribulations of running a Airbnb VRBO short-term rental business. If you guys like this video, thumbs up for me. Subscribe down below if you're new here so that you don't miss out anything that I put on about Airbnb or VRBO. I appreciate you guys watching today. This one kind of ran a little bit long, I'm guessing, once we get it cut down, but I will see you on the next one.